Why would you be so ignorant as to try to put primate behavior onto a canine and expect them to do the same thing? Hi, it's Christophe Clugston, the Jedi Dog Master, coming to you with some information. So the normal pet dog owner, this is something that a lot of people have asked about, and a lot of people say, oh, that's who's looking on YouTube for answers. Of course, they're freebie hunting, I understand. And but this is the sort of thing, what can you do that would make you better? And what does a pet dog owner actually want their dog to do? Okay, so this is the reason why there are so many people who are dog behaviorists or whatever. There are stopping behaviors. They go to trainers. They're not really trainers, but they go to trainers to stop behaviors. That's the main thing. An actual trainer is someone who gives you new behaviors, builds things, does things. The behaviorist can't create a dog who can do a specific task. They can't create an anti-poaching dog. They can't create a seeing eye dog, on and on and on, many things. And I brought that up with some of the popular people I've talked about that. I have videos about that with Beckman, for example. You need to understand when you're looking, are you looking for a trainer? Are you looking for are you looking to create a behavior? Are you looking to stop a behavior? And many people say, oh, you know, I don't need my dog to do many things. I just need my dog to come when called, not be a nuisance. This is the main thing people want, you know. And I have a whole video where the tropical fish disease, which many pet owners have. So check that out. I can't cover that whole video again. Check that out, tropical fish disease video I have on this channel. That'll answer a lot about going down that avenue. But okay, so to create a recall, well, you think you should go to the person who knows the best about recall and who's done the best. And I have the quarter-mile sit-stay recall. And the only person, of course, again, who's done that is the matriarch in Hawaii. I bring her up because I give props to people who actually pull things off and do it. A lot of people talk about it, a lot of people say it, but they don't do it, or they make a bogus, non-legit video. So if you want your dog to come when called, it's a process. And you also have to take into consideration, if you're a pet dog owner, what type of dog do you have? A greyhound it was bred, artificially created and bred to chase small mammals that move fast. So if you think that you're going to call a greyhound off of a cat running or a chihuahua running, you don't have the skill. So this is, it's totally different than working with a border collie, for example. And this is why you find a lot of pet dog owners only getting dogs like golden doodles, labradoodles, miniature poodles. Now, of course, the most popular in the United States is the French bulldog. People like the way they look. They get dogs that don't have the genetic base as like the working dogs. They have what's called a high prey drive, meaning that they're going to chase things that move. And that's innate part of actual real canines. That's what they do from the wolf. Now remember, people want to go into the hierarchy and the pack structure. Domesticated dogs don't have that. They don't do the same thing. A pack is actually a familial unit. A lot of people don't know this. I'm curing your ignorance, but I can't go into it in detail right here. Again, if you really want to know things, and you really want to be a cynologist, this is called, a real dog expert, which is what I would recommend people when they say, what can pet dog owners do? They can learn more about canines, study about actual canines, and this means, of course, coyotes, foxes, jackals, wolves, besides the domesticated dog. And there's actually real dogs. I have a real dog, a jungle dog, not artificially bred. Man had nothing to do with his sexual reproduction. They exist because they're the right size. They have the right mentality. Canines are basically domesticated dogs are basically scavengers. That's how they've been successful. They're not gigantic hunters, as a lot of people would like you to believe. Yes, they do, but the majority of them survive and have survived. And you can look at Coppinger's work on this. I'm directing you to resources here on scavengers and how dogs survived and actually got domesticated. Anyway, they say that they need a recall. They want them to do probably sitting down and stuff. That's not difficult. There's so many different ways that you can train this, and you need to know different ways to train this. Now, what most people want when they're saying they want the stop behavior, they don't want the dog to chew things, they don't want the dog to bark, they don't want the dog to rush out the door in front of them, they don't want the dog to take off after the cats. And you got to understand the dog. That's why I'm saying that canine behavior, understanding what everything about the physiology, the morphology, everything about a canine is important to understand, because just like felines and canines are not the same, and primates, which humans are, primate behavior, this is the biggest problem. Primate behavior cannot be superimposed onto canines. The very fact that you do not train your children, who you think are far more intelligent than a canine, you don't train them, you don't teach them how to act around canines, shows a complete ignorance of the subject. Running up on a dog that's unknown, trying to pat them on the head, is dominance. It's displaying dominance to a canine. Now, if I run up on your kid in the park, and grab your kid, how are you going to react? But you want the dog to be submissive and be a slave. It doesn't work like that. It's not how it happens. Also, the hugging and squeezing that primates do, canines do not do this. You can, I'm giving kisses to the dog. This is primate behavior. Why would you be so ignorant as to try to put primate behavior onto a canine and expect them to do the same thing? You cannot do this. Why don't you react like a canine? Canines also don't meet each other head on, face to face, like primates, like humans do. They meet and, oh, this is rude. This is a canine. Do you not understand canines? They want to smell the anal glands. They're getting a whole system of information that you have no knowledge about, because primates, humans, have nothing in the olfactory department compared to canines, or felines for that matter. So you've got to understand your deficits. You can't project what you are onto a canine, and you cannot expect that you can understand when you don't have the faculties to understand. And I'm talking about the olfactory right now. Also, the sense of direction is far better with canines than it is with humans. I bring these up, there's going to be a lot of debate points that you might say, well, I don't believe this, I don't believe that. Well, this is where you need to do the research. This need to do the study. So, again, I know a lot of people want to make these where you engage, get people to engage on a topic where they're wishy-washy talking about it, so that they'll get engagement because it's all about their views, and so they get monetized and they can make money off the channel. I'm more about giving the actual reality, motivation, and inspiration for different canine events, or creating obedience, or creating movie, because my main two influences, of course, are movie dogs and tactical dogs. Those are the two that I've worked with the most, and I have a merge technique because of the data-driven tactical training, but also the use of 6 different types of methodologies that can be used with movie dogs that you won't find because people don't know about movie dog training. It was a closed niche. The greats have died pretty much off, and this is something that of course, with Robert Weatherwax, we talk about this, but there's more to it in the merge thing, because I merge with tactical training where you have to make evolutions. You're working with, yes, you're working with cherry-picked dogs. Movie training, you're not working with cherry-picked dogs. So that's something that's very applicable to the pet dog owner who doesn't have a purebred dog and doesn't want to have just a Malinois, etc. I mean, I've used a Malinois, but there are many dogs like Golden Retriever, Labrador Retriever, poodles, standard poodles, miniature poodles, border collies, Australian shepherds, kelpies. All of these dogs are fairly easy to train if you know what you're doing. They're capable of doing many things because they've been selectively bred to be responsive to humans, for one thing. You cannot expect, for example, a basset hound to be a sled dog. The morphology is not there. It's not in his nature. He's not physiologically, he can't handle it. He's also, his coat is not made for it, etc. You get to think about this. So as the pet dog owner, education for yourself, and then educating, especially, the people who they want a dog, but they're looking at it more as furniture. It's not possible. You can't do that. I've talked about this in many of my other videos. Again, I'm gonna point you towards the tropical fish disease video, because that's going to cover a lot of things. But here, what I want to get to is, as a pet dog owner, what do you think that, this is where I will ask you a question and real responses here, people, because again, if you got something to refute, cite the minute and the second mark. Generalized stupidity won't be tolerated any longer on my channel, so I'm just letting you know. And also, you see I run B-roll proving what I can do, and I prove many times that you can't do what I can do. There's no one who can do what I can do with a Kuma. The over 110 pound autistic American bulldog that has a deformed cut tail can switch limp. No one else can do that. So you would think, just like if you were trying to go to the surgery, you want the best surgeon, you want the best trainer. And nobody's been able to replicate what I've done. They can't do it. That's why many of the YouTube people run from me. They don't want to mention my name. They don't want to bring it up. And you can't get locked into a sport niche because you start cherry picking dogs. Dogs that will do well at a field trial for bird dogs are not going to do well in IGP. IGP dogs are not going to do well in fly ball, for example. So, you can't just pick from that. You have to look at who's been able to produce the best results across many different types of dogs. And I bring that up before I ask you this question. This question then is, as the pet dog person, now my channel is not really geared for that. I'm geared for the people who want to be motivated and inspired to do better, and dog trainers that I want to help increase their level, bring them up, and make them capable of doing things. And also, I'm one of the last conduits to many people, especially some of the movie dog trainers, that doesn't exist. Well, when I'm gone and Robert Weatherax is gone, there isn't anymore. Back to the golden era, basically. So I want to point out, okay, what are the things, as a pet dog owner, want to teach your dog, not stop your dog from doing, teach your dog to do? Do you need the recall, that is to come when called, under all distractions, which is, that's a whole long video just to describe some of that. But the recall, the sit, the down, do you want the people are now using place, which is basically stay, wait in one location? Do you want that? What is necessary? Stand when is told. Tricks, are there? I say tricks. This is a large plethora of different behaviors that are used in movies and such that can be done. Does the dog, can walk on the hind legs? Can the dog, do a handstand? Can the dog jump when directed to do this? Can the dog grab something and retrieve something, or bring something to you, or open a drawer, or open a door, for that matter? Those are a little bit more advanced. But what is it, as a pet dog owner, that you want your dog to learn? Not to stop doing, but to learn. Let's get this separated, because this is one of the first steps to being more clear and clarifying the entire situation as a pet dog owner, what you're trying to accomplish, what you're trying to do. Because if you don't have a clear idea, if you don't have an objective, you don't have a goal, just like in everything, and if you have no structure in the training, you're not going to achieve results. This is, as a former professional athlete who was a number one world contender, you didn't get there without having a structure, a foundation, and looking at observable, provable, and repeatable events and training. You can't just go off how I feel. That doesn't work. Not when you start getting at higher levels. And that's also, you cannot do that with government agencies. This is where the tactical dog training comes in, because you have to repeat results, and you have to show progression, and you have to show how it's going to apply to many dogs, not just one dog. So this is something that I want to bring your attention to. So play this back. That might have gone too fast for you, but you can play it back. And I don't need to explain it 5 times. You can play that back until you understand that. But what is it? What are the behaviors that you want your dog to learn?